Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Megan Nilsson, aka Crypto Megan, coming to you for another amazing episode with the lead analyst from the Capital Mindset to keep you guys updated on exactly where we're at in the market. While I'm on my world tour, I've been traveling a lot, which is why you haven't seen a lot of videos. We have been doing weekly lives consistently for the past couple of weeks. And I just got back from Ibiza. Incredible event there. Everybody is talking about crypto, though it was a tech event. We got to meet up with Binance, discuss all things crypto and what people are anticipating for this year. And let me tell you, it is a pretty bullish outlook. So that is really fun to see. And now I'm going to jump on with Trip today, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about where Bitcoin's at and whether or not this is going to shape up to be a bull trap or a bullish retest before we get that crypto bull run that we've all been waiting for here. So that's on the list, as well as we're going to check out some of the absolute hangers that we nailed in the group. I mean, the Capital Mindset has been nailing all of the biggest moves this past run up, and it's been really cool to see. Theta fans, we're going to review that Theta chart at the end. Also give you one chart that is set to explode, just like Lever did. So we're going to give that to you for free, just for being part of the Crypto Megan community. So without further ado, Trip, welcome to the show.
Hey, Megan, thank you. How are you today?
Great. We're really excited. We're finally being able to follow up on the charts that we've said in previous weeks and see some action here as, it's been a little bit slow in the crypto world lately.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of it's already happened over the past just week or so. So since our last update, we were looking for it's either a plan A or a plan B scenario because we didn't quite know which way it was going to go yet. Just really needed to see that confirmation. So the first chart we're going to look at today is the Bitcoin on the 1-day chart. There we go.
All right. So here it is.
Perfect. So this is the falling wedge that we've been watching, and just recently, as of April 19th, April 20th or so, that's when we got the breakout of that wedge. And we didn't get a huge amount of volume at the time, but after it broke above the 200 MA on the 1-day, then we started seeing more volume coming in down here. So now currently we're sitting right at this resistance level. You can kind of call it a break above this level from back here, and that's more so from the 27th of November up to about the 14th of January. And then just over here, there's another bank of resistance that started basically in February and has been going up until about the end of February. So there's a little bit of a sandwich action going on between the support and the resistance right in this tight little area. So what I'm thinking is if we don't get the bullish retest here, we're looking for a retest of the 200 MA. And if that doesn't hold, we come all the way back down to test this lower trend line of the falling wedge again. But again, the plan B scenario is to look for a break above this resistance to expect more upside, at least maybe to test the previous high at about 109,000 for Bitcoin.
Right. Now, this is really interesting. So we've got a couple of very high support levels, right? If we were to go down to retest, I mean, we got that 200-day moving average. And, like you said, we broke above this previous resistance here. Are there any indicators to show that we're more likely to continue on up from here, or do we have to kind of take it day by day?
Yeah, we can take a look at the parabola chart first. So we were talking about the 2-week stoch just recently, and we've got a bullish cross on the 2-week stoch. So that usually ends up being a fairly big move when you're looking at the higher time frames. So this parabola has been fairly well respected on the way up so far. And if you count the bases, we've had 1, 2, 3 bases potentially. And if you look to the left over here on the picture, this could be the last base before the next explosive move into base 4. And then after base 4, that's when you expect that crazy parabolic move from Bitcoin. So there is a couple of things that's saying that the trend could continue and just not stop from here.
Right. So either way, we're looking at this parabola that will kind of be our guidelines as long as we haven't broken the structure as to where we could retest to or kind of like follow along with. But I will say too, the 2-week stochastic RSI has been a pretty powerful signal when it's crossed up in the past and can be the beginning of a pretty massive move if it's not a fake out. So yeah, it's interesting indicators telling us that we could be gearing up to get a lot of momentum back into this market. And if that were to happen, then I could totally see this scenario playing out.
Yeah, definitely. So these are just the 2 recent bullish crosses on the stoch back here. So base 1 had the same thing happening. You had that bullish cross and a big move higher. Then at base 2, near the end of this trend line, when we got that break, you had the same kind of bullish cross above the stoch here that started the move higher as well. So now we're in that same position on the third base. So yeah, it's looking like the same thing that we've seen before so far.
Fantastic. Now it's looking amazing. It's looking like it's got potential. So let's start there. For all of you who've been suffering through this past quarter with us, it's looking like we're starting to finally get some bullish structure going.
Yeah, definitely. So we've also talked about this chart a few times in our previous videos, and as we mentioned, it was working more like a map at the time. We were on to this idea way back here before it even broke below the one-day 200 MA, and we were expecting some kind of a consolidation period if we broke below that 200. And we've been having that same effect so far, where we're kind of weaving around that 200 MA, very similar to the 2024 and the 2023 rallies. They all did the same thing similarly with their own little unique structures. But overall, if you're following that 200 MA, right now we're in a very similar position. But this is the first time I've seen a very strong break above it. I really am concerned, though, is to see if we're going to pull back down below that 200 MA at some point. These candle structures, there's a bunch of dojis in here, so it shows indecision. And back here, too, in 2024, you had the same kind of dojis printing before the move down happened. So right now, it's still a bit of a no trade zone for us at the time being. I really want to see which way this is going to go, at least over the next couple of days for more confidence for the next trade.
Right. No, it is interesting what you're saying, though. I see that we geared up before the next kind of like leg down. However, we didn't have that same strong break above the 200-day MA. So potentially, we could come back for a bullish retest. This is the thesis of this video, as it's a little bit different than the previous iteration that didn't have that strong break above. So let's see. But before we go on, I do want to show you guys the winners that we've had this past week based on the analysis that we had been looking for as far as winners in the market and buying the bottoms. And we've been so patiently waiting for that next move. And man, it was absolutely explosive. So in the spot group, we had amazing, amazing pumps like Lever for 39%, Pump for 83%, Strax for 88%, Swarms for 100%. Absolutely incredible, guys. That's just the spot group. And for those of you who are learning how to leverage trade, we've had some incredible leverage results. XRP 800%. Wow. ETH 625%. Fartcoin, you got to hand it to Fartcoin, 400% plus. Bitcoin 200%. So we had some amazing, amazing winners in the group, and it truly has paid off for those who've been paying attention, honing in on their skills, and learning how to trade. And for those of you who do want to learn how to trade, the link is in the description below. You get a 20% off for being a part of the crypto making community. Use code CryptoMaking20 at checkout. And man, you got some of the most brilliant analysts in this space looking out for you, holding your hand, showing you how to capture these moves. Isn't that right, Trip?
Yeah, we've been doing very well. So we've been patient with our entries. We weren't chasing a lot of stuff before we had that lower touch on the trend line for total 3. So that was a big signal for us in the trading group. We were just waiting for this to happen first, and then we've had some explosive, amazing trades ever since. Usually, when that happens on a higher time frame, you don't have to really rush, right? If it's like a one-day chart, you've probably got a good week of trading or so if that's starting to bottom on those types of time frames.
Right. No, absolutely. So I just wanted to point that out for you guys as we've been keeping everybody updated. And even if you were just following along on this YouTube, you would have been able to capture a lot of that action just by listening to the analysis that happens here on the channel that we're given to you for free for just being a part of the community. So if you do want to get more in depth, you want to hone in on your skills, then do sign up to the group. It is an incredible life decision and invest in yourself. That's all I have to say. So let's go back to Bitcoin then and continue the analysis.
Sure. Okay, so after this parabolic curve, we're a little concerned about the pullback that we're looking for based off of the previous chart back here. So now we're going to take a look at the RSI for Bitcoin just to see what the underlying strength is for the market right now, or for Bitcoin at the very least. So back here, we started watching these bearish divergences as the price was overbought. And this first pullback off of this divergence, you had a number 5. So when you see a 5 up here, it's telling you how many different indicators or oscillators that is detecting that bearish divergence on. So that was the first rollover that we saw. And now we're watching these other higher time frames starting to follow suit as well. They're still in overbought territory, and you're getting bearish divergences on a few of them. So I wouldn't doubt it if we get some kind of correction based just solely on the RSI of what it's telling us here.
Right. Now, how deep a correction will be to be determined, but it's still overall bullish on a higher time frame. So as of now, we have no reason to believe that we're potentially, we could potentially be forming the next iteration of an uptrend if we see a higher low, right?
Yeah, exactly. The next higher low would be probably the next bullish signal that I'd be looking for. The strong move that we've had recently has been great. We had a bunch of trades down at the bottom of the pattern, so since we've taken profit on most of those, we're probably going to wait to see what the next move looks like to see if we can catch the next moves on the next higher low that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
The last chart here, or the next one I should say, is the Bitcoin dominance chart. And this is the 6-hour candle or 6-hour chart that we were watching. We had this ascending triangle drawn and we were waiting for this breakout. And we knew that altcoins are going to be hard to trade if this was trending higher. So now that we've hit the measured move of the pattern at the 2.0, if we move over here to the weekly chart, this is the same level as the point of control that's represented by this previous price action from June 2019 all the way up to March of 2021. So this range is forming this volume profile that's now acting as local resistance. And we're getting this bearish divergence on the weekly chart as well. So just over the past few days that we've had the good altcoin trading is when this roof was hit. So every little pullback is when altcoins started pumping a little bit more, a little bit more. So really what we're looking for is for this to actually continue lower to confirm that this divergence is playing out. And then it should be a lot easier to trade the altcoins. We could have run-ups just the same as what we had over the past week and maybe even more explosive down the road if it's a downtrend that lasts for any extended period of time.
Right. And if you're saying those big moves that we had in this past run up were just these little blips on the radar of a correction up there, imagine if we start to reverse the trend in Bitcoin dominance and we head down. It could be, like you said, some very explosive moves happening.
Yeah, even just a couple of red candles on the weekly chart, that's going to equate to at least 2, maybe 3 weeks of good altcoin trading. So looking at the higher time frames, yes, definitely does say that there could be at least a short-term reversal coming. So it would be definitely a favored time for the altcoins over Bitcoin in that scenario.
Amazing. Looking good. I like this chart. Things are looking to be, the puzzle pieces seem to be falling into place, and it's just a matter of, following what happens, because trading is an if that, then this scenario. It's not a crystal ball, but it's looking good.
Yeah, so far so good. So we need a little more information still, but right now the track that we're looking on, I'm just going to go back to this chart. I think we had the total 3 chart as well, just to give a comparison. So when dominance topped out, that's when the total 3 chart hit its lower support, and now it's broken out of this falling wedge, but it's still just below the 1-day 200 MA. So if we do get that pullback on Bitcoin, that could also equate to a rejection at this 1-day 200, and then we're looking for the same idea as Bitcoin, where that higher low could come into place. So we have another setup that we're going to show at the end of the video where that could be taken advantage of for the current setup that we're looking at.
Right. So if you missed this last explosive move on lever, which we're about to go over after Theta here, man, you've got another opportunity to catch the next trades, and we're going to give you one of those for free today on the channel. The rest will be in the group. More setups. There's plenty of setups to get into on this next pullback. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the part, right? We're waiting for the next one, and then it could be a longer, more extended move, just because the higher time frames are going to go back into an uptrend. So, we could be looking at 2 to 3 months of altcoin trading if that bigger reversal starts to happen.
Right.
So on this Theta chart, we had posted this in the I think we posted on our X page and we posted within the group, but we were focused on this bullish divergence that was happening on the histogram, it's happening on the MACD, and it was happening on the RSI. This is actually the chart from the X post that we made. It was a bullish signal alert for Theta. So when you see 3 bullish divergences on your major indicators, you're expecting at least some kind of a bounce or a reversal from that support level. And if we look now, we had a 21% move up. So Theta's been doing fairly well off that local bounce. But if you do get a chance for another pullback, then the Theta community is probably going to want to try to accumulate for the last accumulation phase before we see the bigger move higher.
You heard it here first, guys. You got one last opportunity. But if you did listen to Tripp's analysis from the last video, you would have caught that 20% move, even more with leverage if you use leverage. So there's lots of good things coming if you're patient and you're paying attention.
Yeah, definitely. So these big signals are starting to happen on a lot of coins. We're catching a lot of them in the group by notifying the group of these bigger time frame signals, and then we're zooming into the lower time frames to catch an entry or to find a pattern that we can trade.
Right.
Next one we're going to look at, this is actually a perfect example of what we were just talking about. So lever, we had a 1 hour double bottom with a falling wedge. And the idea here was to enter on support or to buy the breakout of the wedge. And if we look to see where this green arrow was pointing, this was our entry for this first setup for lever. And then if you had got in down here, if we look over here on the 8-hour chart, this was a 145% move from the bottom, and we caught almost the entire thing. The target we had here was a little higher than above the 200 MA, but even if you just caught 75% of that move, you were massively in profit for this trade.
I mean, incredible. And this is a spot trade, right? So, I mean, if you would have caught it in the leverage group, that's even a higher percentage gain. So these moves can be very, very explosive for both people, both types of traders. But that's the beauty of learning how to leverage trade, is that you can maximize these bigger moves even more.
Yeah, definitely. So in the leverage group, you only had to be in the trade for maybe a couple of hours and you would have gotten the same kind of rewards. But if you're in the spot group, it might just take a little longer to play out. But either way, it was a pretty explosive move no matter which trade you traded, leverage or spot.
Right. I mean, 145% is pretty phenomenal, especially in the conditions that we've had recently.
Yeah, definitely. So Gala is the last thing that we're going to talk about today. This is the setup that we're posting now, and we're watching for this pullback to support. So if you look previously back here, this was in October of 2023. You had a support level bounce at the very beginning, and then you broke below that support, and this turned into a bear trap, and we continued much higher after that trap was confirmed. And if you look over here to see where we are currently, you had the support level drawn. We broke below it for a bit, and now we've broken back up above it, very similar to what happened back here. So I think there's definitely some upside for Gala coming. If you haven't caught the entry here, then we're looking for a pullback to the support to catch the next move up. I'd be looking for around 3 cents for your Gala just on this move, and then I want to see what the reaction is once we get to this resistance. If we measure that move, if you get a pullback down to this level, that's still about a 92% move. So that's a very decent profit. What I would be aiming for then is maybe to take some of my position out and try to buy it in back lower to see if you get this kind of a move. So say you have 100% of your position, you sell 20% of it, and then you buy back in with that 20% if it comes back. If it doesn't come back though, you're still in the trade with 80% of your original position, and I think that's still more than enough.
Yeah, this is looking like a really juicy chart, especially if it's kind of a mirror image of what played out before. It could be some really, really big gains coming up here for those of you who are, paying attention. Like I said before, this is a really great setup. And yeah, I mean, it's really exciting times, because it feels like we've made it through the difficult part of the year, which was kind of waiting on Bitcoin to choose a direction, decide what was happening, and now things. It'll be easier trading, like Trip said, once Bitcoin dominance starts to pull back, and if we get that potential next higher low, which could mean bull run, locked, loaded, and ready. What do you say, Trip?
Yeah, I agree. So what I enjoy the most is these big dips just means that it's a lot more room to go back up. So the gains are starting to become exponential gains again. We can see 200, 300, 400% moves across the board on average, I think, on most of the coins that are going to start rallying this time. To know for sure which ones they're going to be, I think that's going to be tricky to tell right now, but some of the dinosaur coins are starting to wake up. We had a couple posts for the AI narrative coins that are also starting to move. So I think the next one we're going to be focusing on is some of the meme coins that haven't really taken off quite yet.
Yeah, I do believe that they will come back despite, all the disappointment and the negative sentiment. We will see bounces on those as well, most likely, and things are starting to pick back up. If you look at this chart here, you can see if you are a long-term investor, that's fine, and you've got to have your strategy down. But what I do is I have my long-term portfolio, and I've also got one that I trade with. So potentially, instead of, you will make those big moves if you just hold and wait and buy at the bottom, but you could have capitalized and compounded your gains. If you see here on this run up during when Gala came all the way up here, and then you sold, and you can take advantage of these swings. So there's potentially a lot more money to be made if you have different strategies and you do incorporate trading or swing trading into that strategy.
Yeah, 100%. I like to have a few different versions, a few different variations of the way I trade. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's just you're having a smaller account, or one that you're using for small caps, I should say. And then the other accounts where you're more actively trading it, whether it be on spot or with leverage. I like to do both.
Right. Yeah. So exciting times ahead, guys. Hopefully we'll jump back on this stream next time and we'll be able to have a look at that higher low that's formed. If not, we'll take it level by level, and there's always money to be made, whether up, down, whatever the market direction is, especially if you're in the trading group. So, man, thank you so much, Trip, for being here today and sharing this analysis with us. We absolutely love it. And have a good weekend, everyone. And we'll be back next week.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.